All right, so this is a pretty cool episode for me because exactly 1 year ago, Mr. Ben Dings was my very first guest on this podcast. At that time, we were just trying to figure out where the market was going, talked a lot about real estate, and there was a good bit of uncertainty. So we're going to start today's episode by talking about what the market has done. What has it changed in the last 12 months? We'll talk about some of the numbers, where interest rates were, what the market looks like, and then some other things that have changed in our societal norms, AI, a few other things. So we'll also talk about what has not changed and what is stable and what still feels really good. And so I really look forward to this episode with Mr. Ben. Thank him for inspiring me to start my podcast, for being my first guest, and for coming back 12 months later. Let's go. All right. Hey, everybody. Today we are talking about renegotiating the parent-child relationship as kids become the adults. And we have Julie Johnston here today. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. So I always start with one thing. And so I'm going to ask you just to read this into the camera.
Okay. I need to read this?
Yes, please read it.
My 3 favorite things are eating out with my friends and using commas. That's only 2 things.
What a loser. You ruined it. Okay, so I was working on your intro, and I actually came up with a brand new word. I invented a word.
Okay.
It's called arch frenemy. You are my arch frenemy.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, like the top arch is like the top. Like I'm your
number one arch frenemy. Yes.
Wow.
And I will explain because God, this is so hard to compliment you. Why is that? We can address that later in therapy.
Just avoid eye contact.
Yes, I will. So you are my arch frenemy. I think we are competing for the coolest kids in Fayette County. Like, I think your music taste, the life of the party every time, all the things that I strive for, I'm always trying to outcool you. I think I'm pretty darn successful at it, but you at least keep me honest, and I appreciate that.
That's really nice.
And wasn't that nice?
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought that you felt competitive because you just knew I was smarter, and it was all those things.
Yeah, but smart is not important to me, so you can have that one.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. All right, so we're going to start with a game just to be fun because I developed this great outro, and so I don't want to mess it up with the game at the end. So
okay.
I'm bringing it forward.
I
just need you to finish the sentence.
Okay.
And there's a bunch of them, and I know you're going to know them, but let's go. All right, it's 7:00. Where is Usher?
Oh, in the club? In the club?
No.
No?
God, everybody says that. He's in the drop top. All right, let's try again.
I didn't know that.
What type of shoes did Nelly have 2 pair of? Oh my God, you're not as cool as I thought.
I don't know. I'm going to say.
Give me 2 pair. I need 2. Air Force Ones.
I have no idea. This is.
All right, let's go older. Who did Whitney Houston want to dance with?
Somebody.
Okay, thank you. How many problems did Jay-Z have?
99.
Okay. Chris Stapleton says you're as smooth as
Tennessee whiskey.
Okay. What road takes you home?
Country?
Yeah, that is right. What does TLC not want you chasing?
Rainbows. Don't get waterfalls.
Waterfalls, yes. Let's get a hard one, see what you got. What does Alicia Keys say some people live for?
For the fortune?
That's
and the
part
fame?
of it, yes.
Fortune and the fame?
Yes, diamonds, all that. She has a list. Good. All right, last one, and we'll move on. What did Warren G want the regulators to do?
Mount up?
That's okay. You got better there.
Clearly, my references are way older than Nelly, and Nelly's not new, so that's saying a lot.
All right, look at that. I got those 2 cards out of the way. Got that out of the way. All right, down to business. So you are a family counselor, and you're kind of a big deal now. I understand you have gone out on your own and started your own practice.
Yes.
Is that brand new? Is that months old, years old that you've gone out on your own?
It's pretty new. It's about a month old. I mean, I've been practicing longer than that, but yes, I've been on my own Started Juniper counseling in May.
So what's the difference between, is it just financial that a reason for you to go out on, I guess? Is it just a financial reason? Like it's just independence?
It's a little bit of, I always knew I wanted to be on my own, have my own practice. It was kind of always the plan. And part of it is financial. Part of it is like when you start out, I was in a group practice, loved being in my group practice. But there's like supervision and things that are offered there that you need earlier on in your career that once you don't need those things, sometimes there's a little more impetus to go start your own thing. So
it's just impetus. You deal with impetus too? Is that
not impotence? We'll talk about that.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
All right. Careful with these big words.
I know.
Okay. All right. So today we're talking about just the parent-kid relationships. And I just, again, you're somewhat witty, so I thought you'd be great on here. And I just threw this topic out, and you said you actually deal with it a good bit.
Yeah, quite a bit. I mean, we're talking about adult children, right?
Right, yeah, adult children dealing with their adult parents.
Yes.
And we're not necessarily talking today about, like, just them aging and having dementia and all that. I mean, we can talk about that. But it's more just how to manage those relationships, I guess, because it's not as easy as we all thought it would be.
Yeah. I think things have changed. There's been a shift generationally in as far as what we're willing to do versus what maybe the boomer generation was raised to believe was required of kids. And so there's that tension now between, there's a lot of us that are in kind of a sandwich generation where we have young kids, but we also have parents that we're helping out and trying to keep boundaries. I think people have boundaries now that they didn't have before, and that's creating some tension in these relationships too.
So the boundary word in psychology, I think it's kind of like with everything else. We really swung, in my opinion, way too far on drawing boundaries everywhere. And if anyone hurts your feelings, draw a boundary, and they're not allowed to be in your life anymore because they offended you. Versus, okay, sometimes things are just going to be hard and you're going to have to be mean. Sometimes you just got to deal with it. It's hard. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you think boundaries are. From my perspective, a boundary isn't about pushing someone away. A boundary is about how can I be close to someone who's difficult and still protect myself.
Okay.
So I think a lot of people do think of boundaries as like a hard wall that keeps people out. And for me, when I talk to clients about boundaries, it's about how can you stay close to this person that that you need to or want to stay close to, and also make sure that you're not getting run over or kind of sacrificing your own values.
So that is exactly what I think the pendulum did with boundaries. I think when we gave everyone permission to draw these boundaries, it gave everyone permission to shut their door, and people no longer sit on their front porch. People are like, and it's a joke. Like if somebody rings the door, I'm not even going to it. Don't stop by my house without calling and giving me a 2-hour notice. And everybody has their opinions on that, because I thoroughly enjoy stopping by people's houses without notice. And I thoroughly enjoy when people stop by my house.
Yeah.
Don't stop by and come and spend 2 hours. Like, I don't want, if I'm in the middle of something, I need you to just say, hey, and leave. But if you're on the golf cart path, please do stop by and say hello and knock on the door. I absolutely love it. So
that's your boundary, is you don't want people coming and just expecting that they can stay, but you're open to them dropping by.
It's an unofficial boundary.
I think I hear you. Like people, I think, do misunderstand boundaries. The word's used a lot. And again, if it's really about maintaining relationships, I think it looks a lot different.
Right. So why do you think this is such an under-discussed topic? Because I've talked with a couple friends more around, like, does your mom, like as an adult, it's weird when you're saying your mom, just want to be clear. I'm saying as an adult saying, hey, does your mom come to all of your kids' soccer games? Does your mom like want to babysit like all the time? Or is she like, are you feeling like you're having to beg them to?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what I want to talk about is sometimes there's got to be boundaries of your mom wants to come and be involved in your life all the time. And you're like, we need some alone time. We got this. We're fine. Versus, hey, mom, I don't want to have to beg you. Here's the soccer schedule for the season. Please come to every single game, but go home right after.
Well, I think that, again, like expectations, I talk about this a lot, how, and I'm sure you've heard this before, like resentment is expectations are the key ingredient in resentment.
Okay.
And it's non-verbalized expectations. And so the difference is, can you have the conversation with your parents about, this is what I would really like from you. I would really like for you to come to every game, and verbalizing that. It may never have been their expectation that was something they were going to do.
Right.
So they're doing what they feel comfortable doing and showing up when they feel comfortable showing up. But if we don't tell them, hey, this is what in my mind I was expecting, which was not based on something you told me you were going to do. It's just something I always thought you would.
Yeah.
It's not really fair to have these expectations of people if we haven't verbalized that.
Right.
And it's hard not to do. And you play the comparison game with other people and you see they have all this extended family at every game and every recital. And you're like.
And the flip side, I feel like, I think I get this from my mom. She wants to be invited every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And God, that sounds so simple. Like, how hard is it just to every single Saturday go, hey, there's another game tomorrow? But then it also, when they don't show up, it kind of hurts your feelings. Like, wow, oh, you're going to go to something else. And then you stop inviting them. You let them go, hey, I don't want to invite you every single time and then get my feelings hurt when you don't show up. So let me just let you know, here's the soccer schedule. Here's the band schedule. Here's whatever.
Yeah.
Please come to everything. And then they're like, well, you don't even invite me. It's like, how do we fix that, Julie?
That's a good question. I think you have to be able to have those conversations. And again, being able to be honest with yourself about what was I expecting that I never even verbalized. And then if I've verbalized it and they're still not showing up, then I've got to kind of meet them where they're at. I'm not saying it's an excuse. It's like, you're not going to feel hurt. Of course you're going to feel hurt. But knowing, okay, this is what they're willing to give. Yeah. And so can I deal with that or not? Doesn't mean I want to just not invite them anymore, because then I don't want to get my feelings hurt. Or would I rather meet them where they're at and say, okay, you look like you're a 3-game grandma, right? Like, that's what you can do. And then I got to deal with myself on my disappointment that you're not somebody different. You are who you are. Yeah. Now, we can still have our feelings about that. It's a reason, not an excuse. But at some point, we have to let ourselves off the hook of being disappointed every time when they've kind of shown us who they are.
And I think maturity is probably a good resolution to that. What I mean by that is, like, if my mom was to tell me, hey, I'm good for one soccer game a year, I'd be like, cool.
Okay.
But then when she doesn't show up to that one, or it's the last season, I'm like, are you coming? Oh, no, it's too hot. Mm-hmm. And then you're disappointed again. We're talking about a cycle of years of inviting and not showing up. And on the parent of the adult side of, you don't invite me, or the kids don't even come up and hug me right away after the game. And I just know some of those things that we all get our feelings hurt. Mm-hmm. Like, I know my mom has showed up, or my mom has come over here for a Halloween party, and the kids didn't sit beside her and have a 20-minute conversation. She got her feelings hurt. It's like, I'm going to leave. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what did you expect them to do? Like, right. They're 9 and you thought they were going to sit next to you. And sometimes they do. Yeah. Sometimes they will, but if they have other friends there, or if there's any other distraction, they're likely going to take it. So,
yeah. And I think being open about these things, like, Mom, I'm going to tell the kids that they should absolutely acknowledge you every time you're here and thank you for coming. But I'm not putting the expectation on them that they're going to sit there for 20 minutes, right? That's not something that I'm pushing with them. So set her expectation that she's going to have to let her deal with her feelings about that not being enough.
Right.
And, when it's just us and family, then, that's when you'll get that quality time. But if there's a large group, it's likely that you're not going to get that time. We still want you here.
Yeah.
But just being kind of open about it and then allowing your parent as an adult to handle that. Now, if they're not emotionally mature, they may not be able to handle that message. Right. Right. Some of this might ring true for you too.
Not me. Not me. I am fully emotionally immature. So wait, mature.
Oops.
All right. So what is something common that you hear maybe in your office that nobody wants to say out loud? Is there a common theme other than what we might have already talked about that is going on that's hurting relationships?
My parents are racist.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
politics and forgive me for interrupting, because I do see that, and not necessarily with my mom, but I do find that sometimes the older generation is more likely to only read headlines and fear because they're older or because things change. They're not like we were when I was a kid or whatever. So they are living in fear, which is being fed to them on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And so they go in a hard direction on one side or the other, and it does hurt. That's something I've had to work out with my mom, and I think she and myself have done a great job of figuring out what we can talk about.
Sure.
And what we can bring up. And I'm not one that says you can never talk about politics, because I think it's okay to talk about it sometimes, but at some point you got to know when to cut it off, or what's that hard line where you're not going to agree on.
Yeah. You need to set expectations for what's going to be the outcome of that.
Right.
Am I going to change their mind?
Right.
Probably not. But does it feel good for me to be true to myself and my values, to say, you know what, we are really on opposite sides of this issue, but this might be as far as we take this conversation.
And what I've kind of figured out, and it works for parents as well, but just for anybody, is if whatever you're saying is making the other person defensive, then there's no way you can win the argument, because they automatically, it's like an animal that's all of a sudden, there's nothing you can say because they're just going to defend their stance. So we've all got to find a better way of giving our opinion without attacking and making that other person go straight to being defensive. Because I know there's a lot of people in this current environment that would love to denounce some of the current politics, but they fear giving an inch, like, oh, well, then I'd be admitting that you're right. And I don't think it's both. I think this current person could be horrible, even though maybe his politics are okay. Well, let's move on.
Okay. Yes, I think politics are coming up a lot, and it's so layered, right? Like there's this, I'm realizing now that a lot of what my parents taught me is kind of based in maybe some racism, and now I'm frustrated that they still have these beliefs, and I'm also frustrated that they led me to believe these things, kind of told me these stories for so long, and now I'm having to unpack it. And so there's a little bit of resentment there. And I think everybody's doing the very best they can with the information they have at the time. And we also all have the opportunity to learn new things if we're open to it.
Right. Because I try not to give people too hard a time that may have had opinions 20 years ago, or spoke on things, or used words, or said, because I don't think people understood the impact those words or thoughts were having on other people. So I'm not going to judge you because, and I'm not, don't judge me on the way I thought 20 years ago. I felt like I was pretty open-minded, but there were a lot of things that I said and did that I'm like, dang, that was crazy. Yeah. So I think, we all got to grow from it, and that's what we hope for. Yeah.
Time goes on. We get exposed to different things, different ideas, different people, and hopefully we learn and get better all the time. The difference is the person that we're talking to or dealing with willing to do the same work.
Right.
And if they're not, then we got to make some tough decisions about, do I need to find a way to meet them where they're at and still protect myself? Or is this someone that is too negative of an influence in my life?
Right.
Would I want this person telling my kids how to, giving my kids life advice?
Right.
If not, why am I letting them speak into me? So it's tough. It's a tough time.
It is. All right, so let's change the dynamic a little bit. Let's talk about the adult child that maybe was hurt by their parent. And I'm not talking about just they said one thing, but maybe there was some trauma or something. How then do they, any recommendation for how do they deal with now that that parent needs their help? Maybe they're struggling or financially or health-wise or whatever. How should an adult child handle a parent that maybe was not a good parent when they were a kid?
I think it's innate in us from birth to desire a relationship with our parents. That's safety, right? Like we need our parents to survive as an infant. So we're designed to desire that relationship with them. And we need a relationship. We need them to be good for us to be good growing up. And so I think there's a lot of times where you see kids with parents that ask a lot of them, learning to be people pleasers, learning to just make things right for the parent because that'll make things right for me. And then as you get into adulthood, they're able to create some separation just by growing up, moving out, having financial freedom, all of that. And then the cycle comes back around, and those parents again are asking for help, asking, requiring. And that's the difference too. Are they asking for help, or is there entitlement in it? Are they requiring it? And so I think all that stuff kind of gets pulled back up. Some old wounds that maybe we've been able to work through with distance, now all of a sudden come back up when we have to step into that role again. Right. And I think the difference is, one, can they understand and do they care about the impact it's having on us to have to give that help? That makes a big difference. If we know, look, they don't want to put us in this position, they appreciate it, right? They're trying really hard to still give us space and not impede on our lives in a way that's going to be damaging. That's fine. That's one thing. If they're stepping right back in and it's like, you should do this because you're my parent, when they start shoulding on you, you've got a problem. Yeah. So
I thought you cussed on my podcast.
No, I'm keeping it clean. PG.
Right. So what advice do you give to the adult that doesn't want to be there for their parent?
If you find this video, please subscribe.
I think there's room for that. I think, again, there's a lot of things to consider. It's like, how is this parent approaching you for the help? Do you feel like you should give the help, or do you want to give the help? Sometimes you can care for someone, or let me step that back. You can treat someone with dignity without it coming from a caring, loving place. And it may be that you're able to compartmentalize and say, I will help this person because they are my parent and I don't want to see them suffer. At the same time, here's what I'm willing to give. Like, this is boundaries. I can get you to the appointments. I can talk to you on a fairly regular basis to check in. But there's a line to how much I'm willing to give and how much access I'm going to give you to me. And that may be the best you can do, and that's okay. I think for everybody, that's going to be different. If exposing yourself to them exposes you to more trauma, then you may make the decision, that's not something I can do. And maybe I find someone else that can help you.
So that's a great end to that. So maybe just humanity comes in. Mm-hmm. Like, even if it wasn't your parent.
Right.
Like, maybe you can't handle physically checking in and taking them to doctor's appointments. Then just the humanity of it. Let's find them a resource, somebody to help, just the humanity.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's what I can do where I can still, feel like I'm staying aligned with my own values and my own self-protection, but also feel good about myself as being somebody that would help anybody in this place. right? So there can be a line between treating someone with dignity and actually it being a loving, caring relationship. Maybe that's not always possible.
Right. And I think the fear is, I don't know if it's a fear. One thing that I'm very conscious of is the way I wrote this fancy. The way I parent my parent is the way my kids are going to parent me when I'm in that position. And I'm very conscious of, okay, I would never be like she is when I'm that old. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't talk that. I would be, but I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to be like in 20 years. I've got to be conscious of how I'm reacting and responding just to them. Am I going to visit? Am I calling and checking in? Are they invited to this and that? Because I do think about, as my kids are getting close to getting older and getting out, are they going to call? Are they ever going to call me? Are they going to invite me to their Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Yeah.
Are they going to invite their mom if you're because we're in a separate relationship? Are they just going to go to their wives because it's easier? So we're just going to go to our wives' house because I don't want to deal with your trauma.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think you got to be very careful of how people are watching.
They are watching, and I think there's two sides to that. We want to show kindness because that's what we would want, who would want our kids to be. And we also want to let them know that this is a choice that I'm making and I won't do this at the price of our family paying a price. Meaning I'm not going to let this person, if I feel like this person's not necessarily healthy for our family, and I'm not saying this is the case for your mom, I'm just saying maybe I'm going to step in and help grandma because I feel like it's the right thing to do. And it's something that I would hope that any of us would do. And I'm also going to make sure that, our family is still respected and protected and we can do both.
Right. Yeah.
Oopsie. I just touched that.
Oh, no. Should we start over?
I don't know. Probably not.
I don't think we need to. So what are some practical tips for making conversations with adult parents easier? So what if you just don't have a lot in common? Like we talked about the politics and other things. What are what is something we can do just to make it easier to get along? Because my mom is wonderful. I mean, she is an amazing person, like loved by people. She serves her community. She's incredible. But me and her just butt heads like all the time. And so it is a work in process trying to figure out how do I go and have a conversation, because it seems like everywhere we go, it ends up taking that turn. So any good tips for how, and I made that scenario up. My mom's an angel. I'm just kidding. We get along perfectly.
It's like she's not watching, right? I think one, setting your expectation for what the outcome of those conversations needs to be. Not every conversation has to feel like a connecting, loving exchange. So if the point is we want to maintain contact, we want to stay involved in each other's lives, but not necessarily be speaking into it and taking each other's opinion all the time, then stay with the safe topics. What are we good at? We're good at talking about the kids. Yeah. We're good at how's your gardening going, right? How, what have your last couple weeks been like? Asking open-ended questions where they can speak about themselves. And sometimes that's enough.
Yeah.
Right? That maintains the relationship. They feel like they've been checked in on. You feel like you know how they're doing. That's okay sometimes. I think a lot of times what gets in our way is just feeling like we need to hang up the phone, feeling like that we've really just had this kumbaya moment. It doesn't always have to be that way.
So do you think, we always talk about people are going to treat you how you allow them to treat you. So, and we talked about earlier about how we can tell them what our expectations are. Do you think there's ever a point, or do you think that's okay if you are always having to tell someone, and I'm not saying that in an ugly word, but always having to talk about, hey, this is how this needs to go for me.
Yeah.
Like, hey, when I come over, can we not talk about that? Like, and that might be a constant reminder. Is that too much to ask of, let's just say me, to constantly say, hey, when we go on vacation this year, or when I plan Christmas, this is what I'm going to expect. Like, I feel like you're always coaching them or writing it out when you feel like you shouldn't.
I think that's a good question. So is another kind of misunderstanding about boundaries, because boundaries are about not what you're going to ask them to do, because you don't have any control over ultimately whether they're going to listen to that. And for people who need boundaries, they're most of the time not going to listen to it. And you are going to have to keep saying it. So an effective boundary is really saying what you're going to do. And that way you have a plan no matter what. And that's something you're either going to communicate to them or you're just going to know inwardly this is, but sometimes I think it is helpful to verbalize it to the person. Meaning, if you choose to A, then I'm going to need to B. So that might look like,
And then you can see your way out.
There you go. That was really, that's the next step.
Yes.
If this A and B thing doesn't work out, then the C is the final. Truly. But it may look like if you choose to bring up politics every time that we're together, and it's saying this is your choice, you're choosing to do this. If you choose to bring up politics every time we're all together as a family, I'm going to need to not have you over as much.
Right.
I'm going to need to immediately change the subject, and that might get awkward for you.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm going to do. And that way, you don't have to worry about what they're going to do. You're not telling them, don't talk about politics, because guess what? You can't control that. They're going to keep talking about politics. So if you find yourself saying it over and over again, that's not an effective boundary. You haven't said what you're going to do.
Right. And maybe, I'll just give you an example that I am using now that's slightly different than politics is when I go to my mom's house, she has collected a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, it bothers me that there are so many things. And so I'm wanting to remove some things and move one of the 7 lamps that are on the counter. And when I know that it's not even efficient, not in her best interest for this to be sitting right there in the middle. And so I was constantly trying to clean or fix or consolidate. And she would take it for a little bit and then it would just be a blow up. It's my stuff, leave it alone. Mm-hmm. So what I've had to say is, hey, just letting you know, these are things I want to do. I want to help you, but I can't because it's going to end up in a fight. Mm-hmm. Because the way I see the way your kitchen should be laid out for you to have easy access to things and to cook and not have a fire hazard, you don't agree with. So please don't think that when I come over and just sit on your couch and talk, doesn't mean that I don't want to help you with your yard, but I don't agree with how you think your yard should look. And it's a big fight because I don't think you should have 5 chairs at every table. But it's her house and it's her stuff. So
yeah, I would check. For me, I hear that a lot, and I think there's one, we have to make sure that are we really reacting to what's happening right now, or is there old stuff getting brought up, like what the house looked like growing up, and it kind of pulling some of that up when you go in and see, just an example. But also, it is her home. Checking in with yourself, like, is this an actual hazard? Like, am I worried about her house burning down, or I don't like the idea of her being a cluttery person. Right. That's on you.
That is. That is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Because there are more things than not this doesn't make sense for it to be here. But it's really not a problem. It's just like, why is this here?
Right.
I wanted to set my plate down and you have a full-on Easter garden on your counter.
So the boundary, you might need to say that you're going to host more often.
Yeah.
We're going to need to be at my house more often. I get really, maybe you don't like the triggered word, but it gets me super activated in here. That's on me.
Yeah.
So if you don't like triggered. So.
It's triggered the new R word?
No.
Not yet?
No. It's definitely not, but some people don't like it.
Yes.
Because it gets overused. It gets overused.
It is. And it's attacking. It makes you feel defensive because.
So that's on you, but to say this is on me, but I'm going to need to maybe host more often so this doesn't become a problem between us.
All right. So what should adults give themselves permission to feel? And you can answer that from the adult parent or the adult parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, emotions are not in our control. So I would say you give yourself permission to feel whatever you're feeling. What you can control is the meaning you make out of it and how you respond to it. So you shouldn't judge yourself for any emotion that you have, because that just comes organically. But the meaning you make out of it, you need to question. So thinking about, if you're feeling resentment, give me an example of kind of what feeling that you're thinking of when you ask that question.
Well, just like, I don't want to be around them. I don't want to go. Like, why do I not like my parent, or my parents are racist? Or, that's not a good example, but I don't know, just anything like that, of just feeling like, wow, I should like this person more, or I should want to be around them more.
Yeah.
I should want them to go on our family vacation. Why do I not want them to go on my family vacation? Why am I a bad person? Because I don't want them around more.
Yeah. Again, the shoulds, that's where immediately that means you're shaming yourself.
Yeah.
And it's a bad place to go. You're not going to get to any good rational thought and decisions when you're in that shame place. So if you're shoulding, you got to back out of that. There's no should.
Get the should out of here.
Get the should out of here. What would you like? Instead of focusing on what I don't want, what would I like? And then work towards that. I think any of these feelings that we have, like I should want to spend more time with my parents, but I think allowing ourselves to feel that way is like, oh, why am I making myself feel so bad? Why don't I want to? Well, there's some pretty valid reasons of why it's uncomfortable for me, but allowing for there's lots of conflict going on for a lot of us where there's some stuff that I feel like, my parents have some maybe really backward ideas about some of these things, or they criticize my parenting, or, because I think they know better and I feel like I know better now, and things are not the same, right? So, but I can also respect that they gave me a good childhood, and both those things can be the truth. And so letting all those conflicting feelings kind of settle in and know that both those things can be true. I think when we try to settle, it's like either I'm a good person or I don't want my parents to go on vacation with me. No, I can be a good person and not want a vacation with my parents. I like to spend time with my parents in limited chunks of time, because that's how we can do it. That's how we can keep a good relationship. That's how I'm maintaining the relationship, is by limiting sometimes.
Right.
If we spend a lot of time, it might blow up. So maybe that's how I am protecting the relationship.
Yeah. Creating some space around that time or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right, last question. And if an adult wants a better relationship with their adult parent, or if the adult parent wants a better relationship with their adult child, what is their first step? And then finish that with how they can reach you. So if that first step involves that, or maybe it's to the point where it's not something they can do on their own, how do they reach you? Where do they find you? And
Oh, okay.
What's the first step? And then
how to reach me? Well, you can Google Juniper Counseling. The website is junipercounselingptc.com.
Okay. That's a tree, right?
Yeah.
Grows in really tough.
Yes.
I love that tree.
It grows in harsh environments. Yes.
I love that tree. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah. But I'm local here and I do virtual. So I can see anybody in the state of Georgia, actually. Okay. But so virtual or in person.
Should that be like a step a lot of people should consider right away? Or are there things they can do on their own?
I think two things. If you're finding that you've reached a tough point in your relationship and it's hard for you to be around them and it's something you desire, then to reach out and to first look inward. I think a lot of us focus on, if they would just be this way, it would be easier. Yeah. But we have to consider, what am I doing? How am I getting in my own way? And letting some of this resentment and anger keep us apart, right? So first we got to look at ourselves. But I think, there's the step to approach someone else about if the parent wants to have a closer relationship, if the adult child wants to have a closer relationship, to communicate about that and just say, hey, look, this is something I desire, and start with, here's what I'm willing to do differently that I think might help. It's really hard to be defensive with somebody who's saying, this is on me first. Yeah. And we all have something we could be doing differently, unless we're talking about a straight up abusive relationship or
Right.
you're talking about a narcissist or really emotionally immature person who's not capable of having that kind of dialogue.
Right.
If you feel like your parents open to change, lead with, this is what I'd like for us, and this is what I think I could do differently to change that dynamic. And hopefully it leads to them having the same kind of response.
Well, I know that the issues between me and my mom are probably about 60-70% my fault. But if she would just fix the 40% that's her fault, I wouldn't have to change.
You're absolutely right. I think that's the approach you've taken to life in general.
Yes. So we just need to work on that.
So if everybody else would change, life would be better.
Exactly. Well, I love this because I think when we think of counseling, we think of marriage counseling. We think of my kids are making bad choices counseling. We think of trouble or anything but this. And I think most people, almost everyone agree that counseling benefits you, period. It gives you a way to talk things out, hear a different perspective. I assume you're not always agreeable or disagreeable, whatever the word. Like, I mean, I'm assuming if somebody's right and it is all the person's fault, you're going to say, hey, you are right, but let's figure out how to deal with it. Versus, because I have heard that it was like, all they did was just tell me I was right and the other person was wrong, or all they did was tell me I was wrong. And I'm like, I don't want to go sit and hear that. So
yeah. Well, you know me personally, but I'm a pretty directive therapist. And so I am always asking my clients to look inward first. But if we're talking about abuse or just a relationship that the other person's not capable or open to change, then it's about, okay, what do we need to do for you to protect yourself? You decide if you want to have this relationship or not. But if you do want to have it, how do we make sure that you're able to stay protected and still stay close? It's possible.
Yeah. Who's your favorite TV therapist? Old or new, current?
Oh gosh, TV therapist?
You got Shrinkage, you got Kramer. I used to love Kramer.
Shrinkage is hilarious, but I do yell at the TV because what they do is so wrong.
Is it? It's funny though. It's worth it.
Yeah. I do. I love the show Couples Therapy on, I think it's HBO or Netflix. She's great. And I don't know. TV therapist. Who's a therapist? I'm thinking about Frasier. Gosh.
Frasier. I said Kramer. Frasier. That's what I thought. Kramer.
Really old reference.
Yeah.
But
Frasier. Yes. That's
right. Wasn't he on like a
Cheers.
radio? Yeah, I know.
Well, he started Cheers and then he started his own show called Frasier.
Okay. Okay. That's really old.
Last question. I said that twice already. The best podcast you've ever been on?
Oh, I'm going to say it's this one.
Oh, thank you very much.
This has been really enjoyable.
Awesome. All right. Closing Time podcast with Julie Johnston. Thank y'all very much.
Are you having a David day?